I was really, really cold, and I got in bed, and I had a sweet, wonderful husband. I said, he was about to get into bed, and I said, will you grab a legal pad real quick and just write down a list of some things I don't want to forget? And so he said yes. And so he started writing down the list. And so this morning when I got up, I was looking at the list, and it has MBTI reports, detailed training notes, roll with activity list, water bottles, laptop, phone, husband. I didn't say husband, but he wanted to make sure I did not leave him at home. So I thought that was pretty cute. Okay, so now we're going to do the MBTI, and I am pretty excited about this. And that one, okay. So years ago, the story is told that there was an engineer who worked for a firm, a very large firm, and he came in to work one day, and it was the lunch time, and there was a big kind of dining hall thing, and he walked in, and as he walked in, there was like these signs everywhere, and he was given the standing ovation because in all those 10 years, he had never missed a day of work. And so from that day forward, he determined that he would make sure that he always missed at least one day every year. Can anybody have a clue as to why he might have done that?
So he wouldn't have to get up in front of the room?
He didn't want to have to get up in front of them. He did not like all that attention. Yeah, there's just something about different personalities. Some personalities just don't want all that attention. Exactly. It's like, good grief, this sucks. So anyway, yeah, we all have different opinions about getting all that attention. So at the end of this training, you will be able to identify and assess your own innate preferences, identify and appreciate the innate preferences of others, identify opportunities for growth, and identify ways to use these differences constructively. So we'll be using the MBTI, otherwise known as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, and you all may also hear us talk about the MTIC. The MTIC, when I went through this training back in 2014, I kept thinking, man, this would be so great for young people. And so I asked, is there anything, can this be used, how young, how old do you have to be to take the MBTI? And they said, well, actually, there is the Murphy-Meisgeier Type Indicator for children, and it's designed basically for 2nd to 12th graders, so 7 and 18-year-olds. And so as soon as I got home, I immediately went online and got certified in the MTIC. And if any of you all are interested in getting certified in the MTIC, it is not expensive. It's like $150, and it's an online assessment. So it's very easy to get, unlike the MBTIs, which is not that easy to get certified. And it's not hard, but it's just expensive. But anyway, so today's agenda, what we're going to be doing is, I'll be explaining to you about the MBTI. You will finally get your results. All of those of you who've been going, I didn't get my results, One of the things they taught us when I went through, there's all kinds of free things online that are not the genuine McCoy. The official MBTI, it is considered a psychological assessment. And best practice for a psychological assessment is you must give those results in person. It has been tested for validity and reliability. And if any of you all are interested in learning all about validity and reliability, I've got this manual you can look. I've got the pages highlighted. So I know that some of you are really interested in that kind of information, and I can show all of that to you. We're going to be going over some definitions along with doing a self-assessment. Let's see. We'll also explain the implications for those relationships interpersonally within family, friends, work relationships, and also how that impacts you in the classroom as teachers, as door parents, and then life coaching. And so let me just go right along. Do want to say, a lot of people talk about a test. It's not a test. When you talk about a test, it gives the implication that you seeing somebody, I forget, some kind of TV host, and it was like, oh yeah, I failed that personality test. No, you cannot fail this personality. Everybody's a winner. And it only looks at healthy, normal healthy behavior. There are forced choice questions. As you took it, you recognized that you had to pick one of those four. There were no right or wrong answers, no better or worse types, and also all of your results are confidential. So it is your choice whether or not you share your type with anybody else. A little bit about the MBTI. Most Fortune 100 companies use it. It is the most widely used personality assessment in the world. More than 2 million people worldwide use each year. It's been translated in 24 plus languages. It's used in lots and lots of different countries. And I already told you about the MTIC. It was introduced in '87, also built on decades of empirical research and development. So, Carl Jung, he was a psychologist. He was a contemporary of Freud. And whereas Freud was focusing on what's wrong with people, Jung was focused more on what's right with people. And so he's looking at normal, healthy behavior. And so then you had Catherine Briggs. Now, right after he published his book, Psychological Types, she read that. And she was married to a scientist, and so she immediately starts reading this, and it's really giving her some understanding of people in her life. And so she spends the next 20 years studying and developing and applying his theory to the people in her life. Well, she has this daughter, Isabel Briggs Myers, and her dad, as a scientist, she starts thinking, I wonder if I could develop this into some kind of assessment that I could use to help determine what personality type people have. And so she ends up developing the Myers-Briggs instrument. Now the thing you got to know is with her daddy as a scientist, the other thing is she's married to a person who has a personality type that is almost the opposite of hers. She's an INFP. And she's married to somebody who's like her total opposite personality. And one of the things I have to say at this point that was really fun to me is I was looking at all your reports. It is very interesting to me how many of us are married to our type differences, opposites. A lot of us, including myself. And so she was, and so that really propelled her on. She wanted to understand, why are we so different? And so as she's looking at all of that, she develops this, and she is applying that scientific method over and over and over again. And that's why the Myers-Briggs really is so cool when you look at those tests for validity and reliability. So, Jung's theory, I'm going to move this out of the way. His theory basically is that every person carries out two different kinds of mental processes. The way that we take in information, and then the way that we make decisions about that information. And everybody has preferred preferences of how we carry out those mental processes. Jung observed that we all live in two worlds. We have the outer world, and then of people and events and things, and then we have the inner world of our thoughts and feelings and reflections. And each person has a preference for whether we are in the outer world or the inner world. Now, you believe that those preferences are innate. They are inborn. But he also recognized that we are shaped by our environment and by influences like family and culture and education. In psychology, we talk about the nature versus nurture. So what the MBTI is looking at is nature. And that's the reason why when I gave you the instructions for taking it, I said, think about what is most natural for you. Okay, so in order to illustrate this, we're going to do an activity. I'd like for you to take a piece of paper, and I want you just to write your name in cursive the way that you normally sign a check write your name with your dominant or preferred hand.
I got it. Must not think.
Okay. Has everybody done that? Okay, now, there's not a box, because I didn't give you a book, but now, write your name with your other hand. Okay, if your dominant hand was broken, you couldn't use it, if you had to write your signature, your other hand.
What are we supposed to do?
How do you get it?
Probably better, less.
Bruce, can you tell the difference?
Hey Bruce, I'll match mine with yours.
Y'all call out some words of what it was like when you wrote your name the first time.
Comfortable.
Easy,
Comfortable.
comfortable, mindless, quick,
Flowing.
what, flowing? Okay, and then what about the second time? Awkward, deliberate, what else? Purposeful,
Deliberate.
shaking, deliberate, crooked, hard, what? Indiscernible. What? Angled, okay, good. Okay, now, hold on. We can all, well, first let me ask you this. Where do we get our preference for using one hand over the other?
Depending if you're right or left right.
Depending if you're right or left brain. Okay, does it come by nature or by nurture? Nature, okay. Now, some of us, like, I remember when our kids were little, I was told if you put the fork or the crayon or whatever on, like, in the middle, whichever hand they pick it up with, that tells you whether they're left or right-handed. And if you put it on the right hand or the left hand and they move, they will reach for the other side. And sure enough, with Will, our firstborn, he always grabbed it with his right hand. It didn't matter how far to the left we put it, he's always going to grab it with his right hand. And with Elizabeth, it didn't matter where we put it with her left hand, she was always going to grab it. And then Walker was always right-handed. Ian was so crazy. It didn't matter. If you put it in the middle, then he might do either one. Put it on the right side, he'd do the right one. Left side, the left side. I mean, he was a true ambidextrous. And that continued until he got into school. And of course, which one do you think his teachers taught him? Right, of course. So anyway, but in soccer and in sports, I mean, he really has, he can use both of his different limbs. Thank you. So anyway, how does the environment, though, influence our preference for using one hand over the other? Yes. Yes.
It costs more to be left-handed.
It costs more to be left-handed?
Need by
Gotta buy your guns left-handed.
Yeah, screwdrivers.
Yes.
Unless you're right eye dominant.
I think if you're strongly left-handed, you can't, it doesn't matter. You can't do anything with your right hand.
You can't do anything with your right hand if you're strong.
Iron and that's it. I can iron with my right hand, that's all.
Okay, now, those of you who are right-handed, can you do anything with your left hand?
Yes.
Of course, you do use it. And those of you who are left-handed, can you do anything with your right hand? Not much, but you can use it. I mean, you do use it, right? So we all use both of our hands, but we have a preference, okay? So, and I'll tell you, I'm right-handed, but I painted the inside of several several houses, and one of the things that I learned is that when I was getting into corners and doing edging, I could easily use my left hand to do that. And I could do it just as well as I could my right hand. I did cake decorating for a while, and I could use my left hand to do that cake decorating just like I could my right hand. You get to where, with practice, you can learn to use that other hand on certain things, but not everything. It's just those certain things. And so that's the thing I want you to keep in mind as we go through talking about these things. Just like with your right hand and your left hand, these 8 different pairs of opposites, we all use all 8 of them, just not with the same degree of ease or preference, okay? That's the thing to keep in mind. All right. Just one is more natural, more comfortable, more automatic. Okay, so here are the 8 different pairs of opposites, and we're going to talk about each one of them. Okay, so the MBTI theory, there are 4 pairs of opposites. The instrument is designed to indicate those inborn preferences. This last point, the MBTI is not designed to measure the strength of those skills or the effects on the environment. When you get your report, you're going to see a percentage. That percent, I'm going to tell you this again because this is always a confusing point. People will say, oh, I got 99% on extrovert, 99% introvert. I'm so extrovert. I'm so introverted. That is not what that score means. The score indicates it's a clarity preference index. And so it tells you how clearly you indicated your preference, meaning that you reported that again and again and again and again, okay? It doesn't mean that's how strong the preference is, but just how clearly you indicated it. Okay, so the very first one is extroverted and introversion. This is where you tend to focus your attention. So, people who prefer extroversion tend to direct their energy and attention outward. They focus on the outer world, of people and activity. They learn best through discussing or doing. They're energized by people and external experiences. People who prefer introversion direct their energy and attention inward. They focus on their inner world of ideas and experiences. They learn best by reflection and mental practice. They're energized by inner resources and internal experiences. Again, we've all used both. It's not like people who are extroverts never think or reflect, or people who are introverts. You might. Or the people who are introverts never talk. Well, okay. Extroverts readily take initiative in work and relationships. I need to move that screen just, oh, thank you so much, Dave. Okay. But here's the thing.
Was that
with
left-handed or right-handed?
extroverts, they act and then maybe they reflect. Okay, and I cannot tell you as an extrovert, if y'all didn't know, I cannot tell you how many times that I have thought, oh man, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Okay, that's typical of an extrovert. On the other hand, an introvert, my daughter is an introvert. I will send her a text and I don't get a reply. And then I think, why didn't you reply? So then I'll talk to her and I'll say, why didn't you reply? And she'll say, well, I got your message and I was thinking about what I wanted to say and then I forgot about it and then I saw it again and I thought about it some more. So she's reflecting and not ever acting. I'm like, all you had to do is say, I'm thinking about it, you know. But anyway, so introverts take initiative when the situation or issue is very important to them. I would be happy to give you, I'll be glad to print that off for you. Yeah. Or what I can do is I can send to you digitally to save on paper. If anybody really needs a hard copy, just let me know, but I can just send to you digitally. Okay. The extrovert is often friendly, talkative, quick to get to know. The introvert is often reserved, quiet, and takes time to get to know. Extrovert, here, this is a really, really critical thing. Extroverts tend to have a broad interest in lots and lots of different things, but an introvert, they tend to focus on depth in just a few things. Extroverts, they may seem shallow to other people, but introverts may seem withdrawn to other people. Extroverts, they work out their ideas by talking them through. Introverts work out ideas by thinking them through. And when I was the executive director of Life Choices, I had a staff that I loved, and I would say, okay, I'm trying to figure something out. Will you just stand here while I figure this out? And I would go, blah, 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 and I go, thank you so much. And they hadn't said a thing, but I needed to be able to talk it out, to figure out what to do. Okay? And sometimes they would, and I learned to tell them that because I would have staff that would go and do that. I would go, no, I didn't want you to go do that. I was just thinking it through. So that's a skill. I mean, when you realize, oh, I'm an extrovert, you need to tell people, oh no, I didn't mean for you to go do it. I was just thinking it through. Extroverts express thoughts and emotions freely. They may be at risk of saying too much. One of my prayers is, I think Psalm 145:3, it says, keep watch over the door of my lips. Anyway, okay, keep thoughts and emotions private. They may be at risk of saying too little. And there are times that I've had conversations, he is an introvert, that I've said, you know, I think maybe it might help to kind of build some connections here if you told people how you felt.
By keeping our thoughts, I'm an introvert, okay, by keeping my thoughts and emotions private, I have a lot less stress in my life. Because of my extrovert wife.
Did everybody hear what Dennis said? By keeping his thoughts to himself? Yes, he has a lot less stress, yes. And I will say there are a lot of times that Wally has probably kept himself out of hot water by not telling me what he really thought. Yes. So, I love my introverted husband, yes.
There also is they did come up with a third one, amphibian, which is almost equal in between.
There are people who believe in ambivert, but Carl Jung is the one who created these two terms, and they are opposites, and you cannot be one. It's like you cannot be outward and at the same time be inward. You're always being one or the other. I can't be talking and not talking at the same time. I have a preference for one or the other. So psychologically, Carl Jung's theory is you're one or the other. I can't be both at the same time.
But at various points in the day,
yes,
you can,
exactly. There are times when I need to go and withdraw. I need to go reflect. Yes, but his theory is that you are one or the other. This is the MBTI, and this is his theory. There are people who have come up with this other ambivert, but that is not the MBTI. That is not consistent with Carl Jung's theory. Okay. So here are the words that are associated, because Carl Jung's theory is that we all use all of them. That you can't be, you are by nature one or the other. Okay, so what I would like for you all to do, again, we all do both extroverted and introverted things. We usually do not do them with equal comfort, that most of us have a preference for one or the other. So given the choice, which do you prefer? And so you need somewhere to just write down what you think you prefer. This is your own self-assessment. Okay. The next one The next one is sensing or intuition. Now, we all perceive, this is how we take in information. And we naturally prefer to take in information one way over the other. People who prefer sensing, they live in the present, enjoying what is here, what's real, verifiable facts and experience, and they prefer what is specific and literal. They tend to easily remember specific details. People who prefer intuition, they live toward the future. They anticipate what might be. They focus on possibilities, the big picture, patterns, meanings, insights. They use metaphors and analogies. They do remember specifics, but only as they relate to a pattern. Again, we all use both types, but we typically prefer and trust one of them more than the other. Okay? Sensing, trust experience. Intuition, trust insight. Sensing, trust understand ideas and theories through practical applications. Intuition, generate ideas and theories. The application is secondary. What's that? Okay. Sensing, they like things that are definite and measurable. Intuition, like opportunities for being inventive. Sensing, factual, concrete, sequential. Intuition, abstract, and imaginative. Sensing, they may seem materialistic and literal-minded to others. Intuition, they may seem idealistic, like dreamers and heads in the clouds. This is one of my favorite pictures because to me it just illustrates it so well. Sensing, they tend to take in and present information in a sequential, step-by-step way. They build carefully and thoroughly towards conclusions. They seek details, but they might miss patterns and connections. Whereas the intuition, they take in and present information in a snapshot or big picture way. They more quickly move to conclusions, they follow hunches, and they see patterns and connections, but they only notice those details within them. Okay, so here's the S and the N. Again, we all do all of it, but which one do you tend to more likely do? Write down. We don't usually use them with equal trust. We have a preference for one over the other. So, given the choice, which do you prefer? Sensing or intuition?
How much do they talk about environment changing you, and making you something different? If you're married to somebody who is over, you tend to be over here because they're there. But if you were married to somebody that was like you, or even on the other side, you'd probably go that way, you know?
That is such a great question, Bruce. And I'll tell you, my mother is very intuitive. My dad, and I am an N. My dad is a lawyer, and he would always be grilling me about why and this and this. And so because of that, I learned to pay attention to details, and I learned to be able to logically present my case. And so because of that, I ended up testing real close on the line, not testing, but assessing. And so I think that as when I was the executive director of Life Choices, because that environment pushed me to use those particular skills, you end up paying attention to those things. So what ends up happening is, the very first time I took the MBTI, I scored as an ENFP. Later on, I took it again when I was at Life Choices, and I was having to use so much of details and what you're about to hear now as the logic and then the planning, and I came out as an ESTJ. And so I'm like, well, did I change? And we're gonna talk about, well, do we change? And if we don't change, I was under a lot of stress trying to write with my left hand, basically using all of those things. Putting together this workshop, where there were so many details, that is not my nature, trying to plan so much. So basically, it was like with my left hand, you develop skills, so it's basically the whole point of all of this, of learning what your type is so that you can recognize, okay, this does not come easily to me. So what can I do to help work within the areas that are not so easy to me? And then who can I get to come alongside me to help me? So what I learned at Life Choices is I get a really good team who can help me with these details, and I learn from them for how to do these things. Does that answer your question? Okay. So the T and the F, this is how we make decisions, and it is thinking and feeling. And obviously we all think and we all feel, and people will think, oh, I'm a T, that means I don't have any feelings, you just don't have a heart. Or, you know, if I'm a feeler, you just don't have a brain. And obviously we all have brains and we all have hearts. So people who are T's, they tend to make decisions based on logic, and people who are F's, they tend to make decisions based on personal convictions, okay? Thinking, they make their decisions based on impersonal, objective logic. They use cause and effect reasoning, and they solve problems with logic. People who prefer feeling, they make their decisions based on personal priorities and relationships. How is this going to affect people? People who prefer feeling are guided by personal and group values. They assess the impact of decisions on people. Both processes are rational, and we use both, but usually not with equal ease. I can tell you as an F, when it says not with equal ease, some of the hardest decisions I ever made at Life Choices was when I was having to terminate people. Because even if I could logically see they were not meeting the expectations of the position, it was still really, really, really hard. And I would have a personnel committee I'd be talking to, and they would say, I cut them 6 months ago. And I was like, yeah, but this and this and this. And it was all about the feeling, okay? So thinking, the T's, they strive for an objective standard of truth. Feeling, they strive for harmony and positive interactions. Thinking, they step back out of the situation to give an objective point of view. The F's, they step in to identify with those who are involved. Thinking, they tend to just spontaneously critique. F's, they tend to just spontaneously